To be here with you guys today. Natasha Cloud getting dragged up and down the internet along with Unrivaled for her latest comments regarding, if there's no lockout, the people in Unrivaled are going to be good. I don't really care about the rest of y'all, but the players in Unrivaled are going to be. We're going to get into that. Rebecca Lobo offering a stark warning to the players saying, look, maybe some of the dialogue you guys are using, maybe calling $1 million salary a slap in the face, isn't the best.
We're good over here if there's no season. That chilling sentiment was declared by WNBA star Natasha Cloud in reference to Unrivaled, an alternative league. She suggested that a lockout would not impact its players. This bombshell statement, dropping amid tense CBA negotiations, sent shockwaves through the league and revealed a stark divide at a potential crisis point. The implication was clear: a select few players felt insulated, while the vast majority of their colleagues were left in an incredibly precarious position. This shattered any illusion of player unity. Suddenly, the future of the WNBA, and the livelihoods of its athletes, hung in a far more delicate balance than previously imagined, sparking outrage among fans and pundits alike.
Saying, look, maybe some of the dialogue you guys are using, maybe calling $1 million salary a slap in the face, isn't the best way to get fans on your side, and that's exactly where we're going to start off. Please like the video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel. Rebecca Lobo, worried WNBA players are losing fan support in CBA talks. Quote, when a deal is presented that's over $1 million max salary and revenue share, it's called a slap in the face. Just use different words. This is an article posted by Awful.
This controversial stance immediately drew sharp criticism, most notably from WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo. She didn't hold back, issuing a stark warning that players calling $1 million max salary and revenue share a slap in the face was exactly the wrong strategy. Lobo stressed that such rhetoric was not only troublesome, but actively alienating fans, pushing them away at a critical juncture in the league's history. Her words served as a stark reality check, highlighting a dangerous disconnect between player demands and public perception, and threatening the very foundation of fan loyalty the league has painstakingly built over decades.
Careful with how they're articulating things, because if you're working whatever job, a max salary of $1.2 million, average salary of $500,000, if you don't think it's fair, that's fine, but don't call it a slap in the face. Support for the players are definitely waning. Every time they take a dump on $1 million max salaries, $250,000 minimum salaries, $500,000 average salary, every time they trash that, I would say it's a huge slap in the face to the people that are observing these negotiations from a distance. Wait, you guys are saying a 4x increase?
Lobo's concerns deepened as she observed a tangible decline in public support. Fan engagement was undeniably waning. This erosion wasn't just a casual observation, it was a critical indicator that the players' chosen language and aggressive demands were backfiring spectacularly. The constant refrain of dissatisfaction, especially when discussing significantly increased salaries, struck many as tone-deaf and ungrateful, making it increasingly difficult for the average viewer to empathize with the athletes' perceived grievances. This dwindling support signaled a major crisis brewing, one that threatened the WNBA's long-term viability and its ability to secure lucrative future deals.
NBA comes back, they're not even supporting any player not named Caitlin Clark. Any player not named Caitlin Clark. Not team, any player not named Caitlin Clark. Yeah, there are a good amount of people that are saying, hey, it's Indiana Fever or nothing as well. I tried to give you guys the benefit of the doubt, but based on how these negotiations have been going, based on how much you have been gaslighting and lying to us, I'm not going to support you guys anymore. I'm going to prove to all of the players in the league, nobody cares about you, and we only care about Caitlin Clark. I'm not going to buy your merch.
The Caitlin Clark effect has dramatically amplified this fan alienation. A growing segment of the audience now openly declares that they will support only Clark and the Indiana Fever, vowing to boycott other players and teams. This sentiment is a devastating blow to the WNBA, effectively proving the point that individual star power, not collective player demands, is currently driving viewership and engagement. Fans are openly stating that they want to teach them a lesson, refusing to buy merchandise or attend games if it doesn't involve Clark. A chilling sign of how deeply the fan base feels betrayed and unheard.
Go against the players to teach them a lesson at this point. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. And with what Rebecca Lobo said, the average fan at home, yes, the average fan at home, yeah, they would say that that's a little bit ridiculous. But I would also say the old guard WNBA fan, they're behind these players nearly 100%. The old guard WNBA fan is why these players feel so emboldened to act how they do, to demand what they are demanding. It's the old WNBA fans. The new fans, the casuals, they see right through this.
The perceived gaslighting by players is driving a wedge between them and their audience. Fans who feel they are being manipulated and lied to about the league's financial realities are reacting with strong negative sentiment. They see demands for significantly higher pay, despite record viewership and growing salaries, as an attempt to portray a false narrative. This erosion of trust is perhaps the most damaging aspect of the current crisis. It undermines the emotional connection and loyalty that sports leagues depend on for their very existence, creating a hostile environment for negotiations.
Question, but like, for example, and we all pray it doesn't happen because everybody wants the W to come back. So my question is, if for some reason that there was a lockout and, the season didn't come back.
I feel like I can't say that there is or there isn't because I'm not 100% sure, but I know Unrivaled is prepared in so many different instances. And the biggest one being that we own the space that we play in.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to stay here year round as the players of Unrivaled with equity in this league and with space, financial money, all that stuff, we could stay here, train, play, put on another season if need be. So that's a beautiful thing, and that's why I'm so appreciative to be
A clear divide has emerged between old guard WNBA fans and newer, more casual viewers. Longtime supporters, often fiercely loyal, are perceived as enabling the players' current demands, believing they can do no wrong. In stark contrast, casual fans and newcomers, including many drawn in by Caitlin Clark, are quickly seeing through the rhetoric. They recognize the perceived exaggerations and are less inclined to offer unconditional support, posing a significant challenge to the league's efforts to expand its audience and build broader appeal beyond its traditional base. Natasha Cloud's comments about Unrivaled being prepared for a WNBA lockout were not merely a statement of confidence, but a direct threat to the WNBA's leverage. She painted a picture in which Unrivaled players, particularly those with equity in the league, would be financially insulated from the economic harm a lockout would inflict on the rest of the WNBA roster. This revelation suggested a deep fissure within the player community itself, raising serious questions about collective bargaining and whether the interests of all players were truly being represented in ongoing negotiations. Cloud further emphasized Unrivaled's perceived security by highlighting that the league owns the space in which it plays. This detail was presented as a critical advantage, theoretically allowing Unrivaled to operate year-round regardless of the WNBA status.
Premier league that has the best players in the world. Unrivaled doesn't have the best players in the world. They can lie to themselves and think that they do. They don't. Project B doesn't have the best players in the world. They can lie to themselves and think that they do. They don't. Not only do they not have the best players in the world, they don't have the most interesting players in the world. They don't have the biggest draws in the world. They don't have the most popular players in the world. The most popular player, Caitlin Clark, isn't associated with either of those leagues. And both of those leagues' success depend on a Caitlin Clark playing in them. Make no mistake about it. Now, Natasha Cloud is talking all this hot you-know-what.
Her assertion that Unrivaled could stay here, train, play, and put on another season if need be, was a bold declaration of independence. It suggested that a segment of players believed they had a viable alternative, challenging the WNBA's traditional role as the sole professional pathway and potentially emboldening their bargaining position. Cloud positioned alternative leagues like Unrivaled and Project B as essential challenges to the WNBA, arguing they would force the established league to move and adapt. This narrative portrayed the burgeoning 3-on-3 rival leagues as catalysts for positive change, breaking the WNBA's perceived monopoly on elite women's basketball talent.
When Project B runs from November to April, and Unrivaled is running from January to March, well, guess what? All those players that were the best players in Unrivaled, they're not going to be there anymore because Project B's got bigger pockets than you guys. So you're talking all this mess. Realistically, Project B, they're getting ready to put you guys out of business. Realistically, TNT, you think they're going to be perfectly okay with the trash ratings that Unrivaled has brought in? Unrivaled is prepared for the next year, but if Unrivaled gets dropped by TNT and Warner Brothers, you think they're prepared for that?
While intended as a call for progress, her comments simultaneously underscored the growing competition within women's professional sports, implying that the WNBA was no longer the undisputed premier destination, thereby adding pressure to CBA talks. However, a brutal reality check quickly followed Cloud's claims. Critics pointed out that neither Unrivaled nor Project B actually possesses the best players in the world. Icons such as Caitlin Clark, Aya Wilson, and Sabrina Ionescu remain firmly within the WNBA. Without these undeniable superstars, the league's biggest draws, the alternative leagues lack the magnetic pull necessary to truly compete for widespread fan attention and lucrative media deals. This inconvenient truth starkly undermines the notion that these rival entities are prepared to fully supplant the WNBA, exposing a significant flaw in their perceived strength. Project B itself poses a direct threat to Unrivaled, with its season running concurrently and reportedly backed by deeper financial resources. Project B is positioned to poach top talent from Unrivaled, revealing internal competition within the alternative league landscape. Rather than a unified front against the WNBA, this fragmentation exposes a highly competitive and unstable environment. As a result, Cloud's confidence in Unrivaled's long-term stability suddenly appears far more precarious. The very challenges she champions could ultimately devour one another. The financial stability of Unrivaled is now under intense scrutiny. Concerns are mounting that TNT and Warner Brothers, holding a 3-year opt-out clause within their 6-year deal, may drop the league due to poor ratings. The potential loss of a major broadcasting partner would be catastrophic, cutting off vital advertising revenue and severely jeopardizing Unrivaled's ability to operate. Against this backdrop, grand claims of lockout preparedness begin to ring hollow. Cloud's focus on a select few Unrivaled players who might remain financially secure during a lockout starkly illuminates the plight of the remaining 100-plus WNBA players. Her comments offered no reassurance or plan for the majority of athletes who would face severe economic hardship without a season. This glaring omission exposed a profound disconnect, suggesting that the interests of a privileged minority were being prioritized over the collective well-being of the entire player pool, further fueling accusations of a fractured union and selfish motivations. Accusations of selfishness are heavy, yet increasingly common. Critics argue that a small cohort of older, established players nearing the end of their careers may be willing to sacrifice the league's long-term stability for short-term personal gain. This sentiment has created deep resentment, particularly among younger players and fans who fear that such actions could irreparably damage the sport's future. Unrivaled's operational scale further challenges its credibility as a true alternative. The league plays in a gym seating roughly 1,000 people, a stark contrast to the WNBA's larger venues and surging attendance, especially amid the Caitlin Clark effect. This limited capacity, combined with significantly lower TV ratings than even last year's WNBA figures, underscores its struggle for mainstream relevance. The notion that it could sustain a large number of professional athletes year-round, let alone rival the WNBA, appears increasingly unrealistic. A major conflict of interest has also emerged. Players actively involved in competing leagues like Unrivaled are simultaneously negotiating the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement.